Okay, so we're all set for agenda review. Everyone can get to their packets. We are starting with finance introductory number 152. It's a mandatory agreement, Emery Shelley Brinkerhoff, Beatty Ward, and Mizell LLP, independent investigation and legal services for city council. Any questions? No questions, we'll move on. Introductory number 153. It's the LIO, Local Improvement Ordinance, continuing assessments and agreements for special district parking lots. Questions? Moving on to introductory number 154. Apportionment of taxes and charges. Any questions for 154? Moving on to introductory number 155, agreement Young Explosives Corp. Fireworks display. Moving on to 156. It's the agreement Firefly Drone Shows, LLC Drone Light Show.
I just had one question here, more from my knowledge. And I'm sorry if I missed it, but where do we utilize this?
Are you asking about the drone show?
Yeah, where exactly is this? What public
Is-
event or what
Where is
activity?
it going to be? Because we've never had this, as far as I know.
Right,
Okay.
we've never had it, and I don't think they're exactly sure yet, but you can ask, maybe they've figured it out by now.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Will there be any impact of this, with COVID impact? I was thinking about 55 as well too. Will any of these be impacted by, COVID in any way potentially?
So impacted by COVID, and you wanted that to go for 55 too as well?
Yes, ma'am, please.
I think, just to make sure we're clear, Vice President Lightfoot, is your question is, will the events draw crowds, right? That would,
Yeah. Because the thing is, of course, obviously, I look at 4th of July. I look at them. These are
Right.
events that they're planning to have actual events at. And we know Park Avenue Festival has been canceled. Cornhill Festival has been canceled. The Jazz Festival is moved. So I just wanted to know. I know the anticipation is to do these things, but I just wondered what would be the impact.
right.
If there's an impact.
With the 4th of July, for example, we identify locations for people to go to watch the demonstration, the
Mhm.
explosion. So we're not gonna, and that, I would want to know that if we're gonna do that with these, because that's where the impact would be. If we are
Absolutely.
identifying locations for viewing, that's where people will gather. That's where you have the
Right.
crowd.
Yes. Thank you, Madam President.
Mhm.
Any further questions on 156, 155? Okay, on to finance introductory 157, agreement Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra, music performances.
When will the locations for those concerts be identified?
Locations for the concerts be identified.
And I guess Vice President's COVID question applies too, right?
Absolutely.
Any further questions on 157? Okay. We have introductory number 158, endorsing the Rochester Food Policy Council. Moving on to introductory number 159, cancellation or refund of erroneous taxes and charges. Questions? Moving on to introductory 160, which is a mandatory agreement, independent title agency, LLC, real estate title services. We'll move on to neighborhood and business development, introductory number 161. It's the sale of real estate, the sale of 4 properties. Questions? On to introductory 162 and 163. Acquisitions 39, 43, 47, and 51 Merrimack Street.
I have a question.
Okay.
So with 39, I read that it's not vacant, but wondering if it's occupied and if there's been notification, if so, to the occupant.
So you want to know, is 39 Merrimack occupied? And if so, has notification been given to the occupant? Any further questions on introductory 162 and 163? Moving along to introductory 164, agreement, the Legal Aid Society of Rochester, New York, COVID-related housing relief fund.
Can we go back just a minute to that 162, 163?
Okay.
Joanne, do you recall whether or not we got the description of that process with the acquisition process, wherein it says that we do not notify the occupant until we actually become the owner of the property?
To my knowledge, we did not receive that, no.
Okay. Okay. I have I'll forward an email that the mayor sent out a couple of months or so ago about that. I think that's what that says. Okay.
Would you like to add a question, President Scott, or no? Okay. All right, so we'll move along to Parks and Public Works. Introductory number 165. A mandatory agreement, Yale Environmental Incorporated Occupational and Environmental Core Training Services for the Rochester's Environmental Job Rejob 2.0 Training Program. We'll move along to introductory 166 and 167, bond authorization and professional services agreement. Environmental services, former Emerson Street landfill and active hazardous waste disposal site cleanup.
Does it say what level cleanup it's going to be? Not seeing it. Guess can we make that a question?
Further questions on 166, 167? Moving on to 168. Agreement Rambo Americas Engineering Solutions, Inc. Joint RWWMCWA Corrosion Control Treatment Study. Okay. No questions. Moving on to introductory 169. Agreement Analytical Services, Inc., Laboratory Services, Cryptosporidium, and Giardia. Moving on to 170. Agreement Eurofins Eden Analytical LLC, Analytical Services, Drinking Water Annual Water Quality Report Compliance Monitoring. On to introductory number 171. Excuse me, Agreement Paradigm Environmental Services Wastewater. And with that particular item, there was an updated transmittal that was sent along. In the very last paragraph after it says paradigm is $1,097, the word after should be more than per year than the quoted by Life Science Laboratories. Questions on 171? Introductory number 172 and 173, Pedestrian Safety Action Plan, Phase 3.
Just had one question. The map that was included that has all locations, if there's a way we can get a bigger version of that. I couldn't really make out what's what on the map.
Larger version of the map. Further questions on 172, 173? On to 174, bond authorization, Eastman Trail Phase 1. Moving on to 175, bond authorization, Rock City Skate Park. Number 176, appropriation community development block grant infrastructure and playground improvements. Move on to introductory number 177, official map amendment, release of highway reservation portion of North Street at 37-59 Delavan Street. Moving along to introductory 178, 179, 2021 annual parking garage repair and reconstruction project. We'll move ahead to public safety, recreation, and human services. Introductory number 180, agreement Monroe County Tobacco Sales Compliance Grant. Introductory number 181, agreement New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services 2021-22 GIB grant. Introductory number 182, agreement, the Petco Foundation Animal Services Grant. Introductory number 183, appropriation of forfeiture funds, records management system upgrade. Introductory 184 and 185, grant agreements, New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. Introductory 186,
I have
agreement.
a question.
On 186 or 180,
184
on 180.
and 5. Talks, the grant will include funding for equipment and training. I'm unclear if the battering or the breaching ram, rescue saws, and radio communication system is all of the equipment, or if there's additional equipment being purchased.
Additional questions on 184 and 185? Six. Agreement, the Synthesis Collaborative Incorporated Mural Arts.
I do have one question on that, sorry. I was going through the no RFP justification, and I understand, I've worked with wall therapy before on projects, but I do feel this project might, it might have been good to see a public process, because there's a lot of artists that out in the community that would like to participate. So I guess it's I don't know if there's a question in there or not, but I'd like to understand if in the future, if there are going to be additional art projects, how do we make the determination of no RFP when there's so many artists in the community who want to contribute?
Any additional questions for 186? Moving on to introductory 187, which is the tweener between that agreement, Maddie's Fund, Human Animal Support Services Implementation Grant.
What item is that, Conda?
187 is the green
don't-
that it was sent.
I don't have that.
It was a tweener, right?
Green dot.
Yes, it was a tween. Mhm.
Yeah,
No.
I'm missing that. I'll have to look at it.
You need that one?
Mhm.
In there, do you have introductory 188 as well?
No,
That's the blue dot. Okay,
I put it in the chat.
thanks, Katie.
Rosemary. But I am about to forward it to you, President Scott.
yeah. You can go ahead. I'll look at it and get back to.
Okay. And introductory 188. It's an intermunicipal agreement, Rochester City School District RCSD Rochester My Brother's Keeper summer programming.
Can we just get an update on the previous, it references the previous introductory we passed on this. What was the outcome of that? The results of any grant money expended? And then for this one, I know that it's for the summer, I'm assuming. What has the planning been? What is the planning? Where are they recruiting students from, et cetera, et cetera?
Are there any additional questions on 187? Excuse me, 188. Sorry. There are no additional questions. That was our last item. If you have some additional questions, if you can get them in tonight so that we can get them over to the administration first thing in the morning, please. President Scott, that was the last item.
Righty, thank you all.
Yeah.
Thanks very much and good night. We still have to, we'll be getting legislation on the ATV vehicles. I'd like to see us, even if we get it and put it in committee, we need to keep moving on that. The county did not act on theirs. It's in committee, but we can be assured that we would coordinate in some fashion the work around it with the law enforcement, first responders is ongoing. And Mary, thank you for sending the video. I think I'd seen it on the news, the educational piece of their effort. So that's going to be on our agenda at some point.
President Scott, do we know, I emailed about this too. Do we know the specifics of the legislation yet? It seemed like what you sent, the draft, there were some questions still in it.
The question was, I wanted to see whether our fines or penalties, I forget which they're called, were consistent with those that the county was proposing. And whether or not our legislation, how that would intersect or be affected by the county's legislation. So ours affects only within city boundaries, but I think she said that the fines, they haven't done theirs, so we don't know how that's going to, whether it'll be the same or not, but it'll be for the two jurisdictions.
Do we have a set number?
I think it's
Or
in there.
that's-
I believe it's
Well,
in there.
Yeah, at the top it said 1,000, but then at the bottom it looked like 150, so I was confused.
150.
Yeah, there was a section at the bottom that said something about fines of 150, but I'll wait till we get the final legislation.
Yeah, let me look back at that because I didn't see that.
Okay.
So President Scott, just to be clear, the legislation is coming from council, so I believe Conda's working on it. So if you want
Yes.
anything included in that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Melendez, you're puzzled about something.
No, it's been a long day. That's all it is.
As you sit with furrowed brow. Okay. All right. All right, everybody. Thanks.